Hey everyone, this is Mayan Writes. I'm Mayan. I talk all about writing and storytelling. So today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about productivity, procrastination, project management, and everything in between. So to anyone who doesn't know, by day, I'm actually a project manager, which means that managing timelines, schedules, and resources, deadlines, and setting goals is something that I do on a daily basis, literally. I think that the skills that I've acquired through my day job has been a real kind of superpower that helped me in my writing projects. Now, writing and storytelling are a creative endeavor, obviously, but at work, I manage creative projects all the time. So creativity doesn't mean that you can't manage yourself properly. You just need the right tools. So I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned that really helped me reach my writing goals. Now, of course, this really helped me in my personal work, but it's not going to fit everyone, like most things in life. I'm not going to talk about setting goals. There's a lot of information about that. I feel like there's this misconception out there that setting goals is like half the battle. Not really. It's not even the battle itself. It's like preparation for the battle. It's like the stretches you do before going into battle. Okay, I'm going to drop the battle metaphor now. Moving on. So let's assume that you have goals, that you reverse engineer these goals into weekly and daily goals and tasks. This is crucial, of course, because big goals need to be broken down to smaller bits and fit into your schedule. So let's assume that you did all that. Now you need to plan out your week and your day, thinking about what you want to achieve and what's your priority. I start every day with a list of everything that needs to get done, and then I highlight the absolute urgent tasks. Then I number them by importance, and I sprint through them first thing in the morning. Now, research shows that you have most motivation in the morning, so I would say use that to your own advantage. After the morning, the brain performance decreases due to overwhelm and decision fatigue. Also, don't spend too much time planning your day because planning turns very quickly into procrastination. I'll get to that later. If you're not a morning person, I would still say try to do the most when you wake up in the first few hours. That's when willpower is strongest and it will be easier to get things done. For example, during a drafting phase, my first goal is always to add to my word count because I fast draft. After that, my weekly task used to be working on my platform, on my website before I launched it. Then it was a reading goal, then it was a research goal. But I always knew what the next thing is going to be. I don't spend time thinking about what I'm going to do next because I go by the numbers, by the priority that I set. Switching from task to task doesn't only take time, but you lose attention and focus. That's why multitasking doesn't actually work, and the corporate world has been starting to understand that more and more in recent years. Let's talk a little bit about time estimation, estimating your tasks. So this was a huge game changer for me. I realized very quickly that I don't estimate correctly how long things are going to take, and this really screwed up my entire schedule. I used to always underestimate how long a task would take me, and then I got really frustrated and demotivated that I can't get stuff done or I can't get them done in time. But when I estimated them better, suddenly the workflow went according to plan. So for this, there's a rule of thumb called the 1-3-5 rule, and it basically says that in a day you can achieve 1 big thing, 3 medium things, and 5 small things. So a big thing for me would be drafting, for example, because I need about an hour or so to write 1,000 words on average, or like writing a new episode for my podcast. And medium things would be, for me, like 30-minute tasks, like fixing a small bug in my website or recording a new episode for my podcast. And small things would be like 15-minute tasks, like answering emails and posting and replying people on social media or brainstorming a new episode idea, etc. This is what the 1-3 rule is for me. If you're writing full-time, your tasks might be different. If you're a mom, your tasks might be different. But they need to be time-bound. They absolutely have to, because time is the one resource you can't make more of. The time you spend is gone forever. And so you have to be extra careful with it. So take control of your time, estimate it correctly. The next thing I want to talk about is tracking your progress. Track it really monthly, weekly, daily. It's a pain in the ass, I know, but it makes all the difference. And here's why. A, it keeps your goals top of mind. When you have a daily reminder of what you want to achieve, your brain files it as something important and then allocates even more resources to get it done. And you need that. So when I think about my goals daily by tracking them, I'm reminding myself over and over again why they're important, and then there is more chance that I get them done actually on the day that I'm supposed to. B, it gives you the chance to self-correct. So I used to track my goals monthly, and by the time the month ended, I forgot what my goals even were. And I obviously didn't achieve them. So when I look at my goals daily and weekly and look at my progress in relations to the entire month, I can see if I'm on track or not. If not, I can self-correct before the month is over. So for example, if I reach the 15th of the month and I'm not done with half my goals, I know that there's a chance I'm not going to make it. And so I'm going to need to step up and do what I can to make sure that I make them. And C, it helps with improvement. When you look at what you achieved compared to what you plan to achieve, you get insights about you and your work. Like, for example, if you keep postponing the same task from month to month, maybe it means that you have to start with it the next time. If you find that the same hour of the day is a slow hour, or a certain day is a day where you get nothing done, maybe you can find the reason and fix it in the future. If you get overbooked again and again, you can maybe, do better next week. And the thing is that the self-improvement thing is crucial because writing, just like life, is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not over in a second. It's a long journey. If you don't explore ways to keep making it better, you simply won't do it better. And that's a shame. Okay, let's talk about productivity versus efficiency. So this is a huge thing for me. And I think a lot of people talk about productivity and being productive and they kind of lose sight of being efficient. So productivity puts the emphasis on the amount that you create, when efficiency looks at the resources wasted on that amount created. So in project management, for example, if we created for a certain project 5 winning concepts, for example, that's great productivity. But if we spent double the amount of manpower and it took twice as long as anticipated to produce, then it didn't cover the cost, then it's not an efficient project. Better to have 3 winning concepts and keep the resources for the next project. So the marathon metaphor works here too. In a marathon, a runner can sprint the first 10K, but then he won't have the energy for the next 30K, right? The same way, if you won't save your resources, your time, your energy, your money, and make sure you allocate them correctly, you may not last for as long as you need to. Okay, now we've reached the big P, which is procrastination. So procrastination is basically a clash between 2 parts of your brain: the prefrontal cortex, which is the one planning and making rational decisions, and the limbic system that just wants to make sure you feel good at any given moment. We procrastinate when the limbic system wins, but it's a habit and it can be changed. A way to bridge these 2 different parts is to recreate self-trust. So this means that you start to close the gap between what you say you're going to do and what you actually do. So if you got into this procrastination vicious circle, you need to start with setting a small achievable goal that you can do without a lot of struggle or wasting a lot of energy. And that way you feel more competent about getting more and more things done the next time you set goals. You probably know this anecdote, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I love this. I tell this all the time. So Isaac Asimov wrote about 500 novels. In his biography, he wrote that he chooses not to wait for inspiration. And if he struggles with certain work, like he doesn't just procrastinate, right? He just does something else instead. If he can't sit down and write his novel, then he just leaves it and he goes to write an article or a manual or a short story. He works on a different novel. So this fills him with more motivation to do things because action begets motivation, not the other way around. So make sure that you stay in that action circle because action will make you want to take more action, right? And procrastinating will just make you want to procrastinate more. It's not this time-bound thing that eventually you will get up and be tired of procrastinating and will be ready to work. It doesn't work that way. All right, here's a sad fact, and this is scientifically proven, okay? So what is the price we pay for procrastination? According to research, procrastinators achieve less in life and they tend to underperform. They're even less healthy due to the stress over procrastinating, which is bad for the immune system. There's also direct effects, of course, on just not getting things done, which might hurt us or the people around us. Yeah, that sucks pretty much. So here is my personal take on this whole thing about productivity and getting stuff done. For me, it was more of a philosophical shift that I made in the last few years, thinking that how I spend my time is how I spend my life, and how I spend my life is how I spend my time. So this is kind of a perspective that really snapped me into action. We usually get freaked out around New Year's or our birthdays, because we're more aware of time passing, and so we're more aware of what we got done and how we maybe passed on what we wanted to get done. But we should be aware of time passing always, so we don't sit around thinking that we're always going to have time to do the important things. Now I have a calendar, a big one, everywhere in the office, in my living room, my workspace. So I actually have to cross it off every day, a few times a day. And this really internalizes for me how quickly time goes by, and that I can't, snap at the end of the year thinking, oh my God, where is this year gone? Time flies by and life flies by. And I don't know what your beliefs are, but I believe that this is the only life that we get, so we need to live it well. That's kind of like this memento mori kind of thing, remember death. And I realize it could get a little morbid, but we don't really realize that life isn't infinite, and we need to really use every day that we have, and every day is a gift. And it's such a cliche, I know, but it's so real, and it's such a basic truth that we don't really reflect on sometimes. So you should reflect on it. We're not going to be here forever. God, getting philosophical today. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can reach out to me on Instagram if you want to stay in touch. You can visit my website, myanwrites.com, for more information, and subscribe to my newsletter for more writing tips that I don't share anywhere else. In the meantime, happy writing!